Welcome everyone to this exciting interview segment. Today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Eric Mabius, star of the Hallmark mystery movie Signed, Sealed, Delivered, A Tale of Three Letters. Eric takes on the role of Oliver. Join us as we delve into Eric's insights into his character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you, Eric, for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed our conversation about Italy before you turned the recording on. So,
Yeah, so
everyone missed out on a lot of the good stuff.
so what can you tease about your character journey in Science Still Delivered, A Tale of Three Letters?
Well, this is Oliver and is on a whole new path now, I think, in many ways. Oliver and Shane, we filmed this movie and the one that follows it at the same time. So each of them are very different, but it's an emotional roller coaster in so many ways because we know Oliver and Shane so well after this many years of sort of having them in our living rooms and getting to know them. And as the actor playing Oliver, I'm constantly surprised because of Martha's writing. She never comes to these movies trying to do repeating herself in any way. So breaking new ground, having Oliver and Shane newly married. Uh, what does it actually mean to go from being, they had a very long friendship and a long courtship, and the time from when they decide to get married to when they get married is very short. So they're sort of two very strong, capable, remarkable human beings in their own right. But what happens when you put those people together? And how in a relationship, I mean, there's a lot of this is very realistic, the challenges they face, but what happens when you put these people together as opposed to just, you know, Shane comes into Oliver's home, they live together under his roof, uh, but she gives up her home to move in with Oliver, and so there's a lot of sacrifice in many ways, and the challenges that they face are really the whole sort of the heart of the conflict in this movie, and how they learn that they're not as um, adult and capable as they thought they were, and there's a really amazing journey that they take through the course of this, of them letting go and sacrificing, surrendering, learning what it means to really, when the honeymoon period is over in a relationship, there is real work
Yeah,
to get to, but hanging on to the soul and the heart of the relationship through those challenges, like we all face every day in relationships in life.
yeah. So, what initially attracted you to your role in Science Still Delivered, the series at the beginning?
I think, well, initially I read the script. I was actually on an air. The doors were closing. I was flying to go do a movie in China. I have a really brilliant director who's been a friend of mine for years. I got to know in New York. He was doing a movie, and my agent manager said, there's this project that we've been tracking for you for a while, and they'd really like you to take a look. And if you like the script, they would like to set a call with the show's creator, Martha Williamson. And I read it on the plane. And as we know, when we watch movies or read books on airplanes, it might be the high altitude with the oxygen, but we find ourselves crying at movies we wouldn't normally cry at, or finding something funnier than we would. And I don't know if it's being in the air or the oxygen or what it was exactly, but I read Martha's script, the pilot for the show, and I knew I got it. I just understood. I got what she was doing. It was a very different direction from Touched by an Angel, although it is full of spirit and faith. It really is grounded in everyday struggle. There were no, there was nothing that bumped for me, and I had done a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie before, but I really wasn't that familiar with Hallmark, and I thought, excuse me, I thought how wonderful of them to want to make a show like this, and how lucky am I to collide with Martha. And I landed and got to the hotel room, and we got on a phone call. She was on a cruise ship with her two um, baby daughters, so she had to go into the closet in her stateroom on the boat, and we had our first conversation, and it was as if we had known each other for years. There are references that she makes in conversations. She's a very old soul, and I always, because I've always been a voracious reader, she would make references to things or old sayings, because I really enjoy hanging out with people older than me. So I really, my Polish grandmother was my dear friend. So there was turns of phrases and sayings that she would have, that would Martha would have, because she would always hang out with people older than she was as well. She started very young in this business, and is really kind of a tough, like one of those great old gals from one of the classic Bogart movies. Like she's elegant and brilliant, but also really tough. You know, she's got a tough exterior sometimes and a very soft, warm interior. And we just got it one another, and we both felt it. And so it was Martha, really, to answer your question, and what she was trying to do in the script, and that we could see that Oliver and Shane were very, in a very far orbit from one another, but we could see all the potential and the directions we could go. As we saw, everyone was so excited and rushing to try and get them together, but it had to happen in the time that it was meant to. Um, it's not like Ugly Betty at all, but everyone was always trying to say, when are they going to get together? And that's not, even though people say that's what they want, that's not really what they want. It's the sort of all the other stuff that fills up a relationship. That's not just the, hey, we're together now, whatever, that is, which is all of that is what attracted to me to. It's a very long answer. I'm sorry. I'll try and answer in short sentences from now on.
Amazing. And what do you think makes this chapter of the series so special and captivating?
Uh, I think for one reason or another, COVID, um, whatever's going on in the world, what's happened to have been going on in people's lives, the fact that the show has been going on for 11 years. Each time we come back to it, all of us have gone off and lived our lives, and we come back and we inhabit these characters. We bring so much more each time. We've missed being together. So we as human beings miss being together. So I think that translates in some way to how we inhabit our characters and how we interact on screen together. Um, so being back together and speaking Martha's words, there's so much that we bring to the table, and the audience has been waiting to see it. So that, like, there's all this like buildup of wonderful tension, and to actually, I mean, the easiest part of what we do is being on set in front of the camera and saying our words. It's all the waiting and all the other obstacles to us being around one another on set in front of the camera. So I think that, and because of that, that each time we come back, Martha goes back and looks at the entire breadth of the show, what she's accomplished, what she hasn't, and she turns around and looks to the future. So she puts elements in there. There's nothing's wasted. No element of her writing is wasted. So if you go back and watch it 10 times or 100 times, you'll see 100 different things, and you'll understand that, oh, that little word or that sentence or that gesture has a payoff as the movie unfolds. A person coming to the show new, watching, won't necessarily get that. But what's great is that even if you don't, the movie stands alone on its own. But if you reach back and see what was done, you bring all that experience. So I think really that's what I was looking forward to each time she writes, to see what she makes reference to. She sort of throws those Easter eggs in, those eggs in for people who watch, and also I think makes a new audience curious about going back and seeing what came before. So
Yeah. So, and what do you hope audiences take away from watching this chapter of Signed, Sealed, Delivered?
Uh, um, I think the takeaway is that although we already know being in love takes real work, that that it's not a power struggle in a relationship. That the real joy in discovering one another is letting go of who's in charge or who gets to make the whatever decisions. And the real joy in exploring a relationship is being vulnerable and putting all those, this is what I'm supposed to be in a relationship. This is how what the roles are. This is how I'm supposed to act. And when we come to the end of the movie, I feel like that's the start. Like we're starting all over again, essentially, is how I felt by the time we wrap up Tale of Three Letters, which is what I love about Martha's writing. There's no, you feel satisfied during the 2 hours of the movie, and she checks all the boxes of what we want to watch in a Hallmark movie. But the path that she chooses to get us there is not ordinary, and it's not necessarily predictable. And that she always leaves us wanting more, feeling like, okay, now we can get to the job of like, I don't want to give anything away, but what comes by the end, what we find that yeah, we're like just open the door to a whole new universe at the end of each movie, like the one that came before it. Was it To the Altar? The Vows We've Made. I can't remember what The Vows We Have Made. I forget the movie that preceded this one. So they're walking on the street. Um, Oliver and Shane just got married, and they're strolling down the street. There's this wonderful moon on the street, and they find a letter on the ground. And it's that sort of the way when I watch TV. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and there are a lot of really special movies that came out then, as we all know, um, where you go through this wonderful journey, and even though you come to an end that feels satisfying, it's the promise of a new beginning, and oh, you just want to see what's behind that next door or that curtain, to launch you into a whole nother adventure, I guess is.
Yeah. So, and what was it like working with the rest of the cast on set again? And you meet each other again.
I think I think one of our favorite moments whenever we film a movie is sitting down to read the script together, because it's the only time we're all together in the same room at the same time. And when we get the script a few weeks before we come to Vancouver, we read it, and you sort of imagine each scene in your mind's eye. You imagine the way it's going to unfold. But sitting down with everyone, it's all that multiplied, because all those voices in your head that are sort of bouncing around are made manifest. So it's kind of the most perfect moment. We aren't preoccupied with the lighting or the I'm sweating through my makeup or the whatever the setup or the shot or a noise that's happening somewhere. It's that it still remains in a perfect state, much like why it's different. Your favorite book is never necessarily as good as your favorite as the movie adaptation, because you invent everything you want to. And that's what's so great about coming together, and the read through. It's still purely, it's sublime. It's still in the sublime, right? It's not reduced to whatever the physical space is, whatever limitations or challenges we face in filming. It's pure, I guess, is it's really my what I look forward to most and what I find so uh, enjoyable about it. And realizing that everyone's the same, but not at all the same, because our characters are evolving and we've each gone through our own whatever is going on in our own lives. So we know generally what to expect, but there's always sort of a whole new bunch of stories to share. And I love keeping in touch with them when we're not filming as well. Gregory, my Harrison, who plays Joseph O'Toole, my TV dad, the two of us have become really close over the years. And because I'm in, Los Angeles, and we try and go out to dinner times. And Zach, who plays Ramon, My family's gotten to know him a little bit, and I've gotten to know him a whole lot over the years. It's one of my favorite things when I come to Vancouver to shoot, to take long walks with him and just talk. He's an amazing guy. He really is. But the whole cast really is. They're they're each very special in their own way, and it's a big family. And again, after 11 years, it just keeps getting better. It really does.
Amazing. So, the last question about the Science Field Delivered series.
Hmm.
What was your favorite scene or moment while filming this chapter of Science Field Delivered?
My favorite moment. I think I think each time I look at while we were filming it, what would have been my favorite moment? It's hard to answer because we shot the two of them at the same time, so the two have been very intertwined. I think one of my favorite moments, there's a whole storyline of Shane and Oliver going through a lot of struggle in their relationship unexpectedly. And we've seen a lot of couples in therapy scenes in a million different TV shows and movies, but I feel like Martha put it in there not to be like all the others scenes that have been shot like that. There's real, it's not simplistic, but there's real advancement in their sessions. And when they implement what they're being taught or what they're learning in the therapeutic environment, when they sort of stumble into utilizing the lessons that um, they stumble on in therapy, it both clicks for them. And there's this wonderful surrender to one another, and delight, when they realize that this is going to work, that they have unlocked the key. They're embodying the thing that the therapist was talking to them about. I'm speaking in the general because I don't want to give anything away too much, but the sort of when the heart flies, like they reconnect with their hearts and they are there to defend one another. They're a team again, and they're ready to take on all the challenges. It was a really fun scene to shoot because we've all been in that position one time or another, hopefully, trying to make things better, trying to learn from your mistakes.
Amazing. So this is it. Thank you so much for being with us today, Eric.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, this was fun. And thank you all for watching.
And
Bye.
and I hope we get to do this after the next one because the next Science Seal Delivered movie um, builds on this one, and it's emotionally even more of a roller coaster than this one, and that's hard to conceive of because this one is. But anyway, what I'm saying is, what's waiting is there's more great content waiting. So anyway, thank
Great.
you. So sorry I interrupted you. I apologize.
Don't worry. And thank you. And we hope to see the next chapter soon.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.